Ange, I just wonder what you're making about all the discussions regarding crowds at the moment. We've seen games in Wales and sporting events in Wales already moving behind closed doors. What would your reaction to be to that happening here?
Look, my instant reaction is, I don't like it in terms. I don't like football played behind closed doors. I had pretty much a season of it in Japan, and I just didn't enjoy it. To me, it becomes a different game. Becomes, a different sort of environment even for the players, and you know, of course, my preference is to play with supporters in there, even if it was a reduced capacity. But again, as with all these things, we have to follow the guidelines and have to follow whatever protocols are put in place. And, we as a club have to accept that and just get on with it.
I guess the focus would be upon the game on January 2nd if it was to happen. Do you think it would hand a disadvantage to your team if that game went ahead behind closed doors?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark, that's so far removed from me, mate. We're dealing things almost on an hourly basis here, so it's not that I understand the context of your question, but we got a game tomorrow night that's still undecided, your headspace stays at what we can deal with right now and not sort of potentially what may or may not happen. There's not a great deal of certainty at the moment about anything, and like I said, on an hourly basis, we're kind of trying to figure out what just to take the next step. So it's not that that's not something that will become sort of relevant if and when that's thrown at us. But right now, the next most important thing for us is the next 24 hours because that's the most important period for us.
Ronnie Charters.
Hi, Ange. I know we've spoken about this before in terms of the safety of everyone, not just supporters, players, officials, everyone. And in terms of where we go from this, we've all sat in those football stadiums with no fans in it, and we all know what it's like. If there was an option to curtail the season for a while until fans are allowed back in, would that be a better option for you, do you think?
Again, mate, we're dealing with sort of circumstances that, are not before us right now. I guess when you think about it logically, we do have a break, a natural break in our season that other leagues don't. Is that a potential to use that? Yes, I'd suggest keeping all those things in mind that you said, the protocols and the safety of everyone involved. But I just can't look at these things as some sort of, hypothetical situation because, if I use all my time trying to figure out whether that's a good solution and then tomorrow somebody says to me, well, no, actually this is happening, then I've just wasted limited brain space I have on something that may or may not happen. And like I said, all these things are obviously a concern. It's not like I said, I'm not dismissing them, but you'd appreciate not just me, every person in my position at the moment, probably everyone, yourselves including life. There are things happening on an hourly basis that could potentially affect your life, and you just got to deal with what's before you. And at the moment, like I said, for us, there's a pretty critical 24-hour period coming up. There's, like you said, there's an announcement today. There's a game tomorrow which is on at the moment. I mean, that's at the forefront of my mind,
How difficult is all this to judge for you as a manager? Obviously, we know Celtic's injury list is growing as well. Added to that, the St Mirren COVID outbreak that's still unsure with them. How has this been for you? And is there a squad update in terms of you guys and where you're at in terms of injuries?
Yeah, I haven't had long to bask in the glory of a cup win, mate. Put it that way. Injury-wise, obviously Dave Turnbull's, his one was the most significant coming out of the game. He's had a scan, but we haven't got the results yet, so I'm not really sure length of time, but he definitely misses out. Everyone else, we've got a few knocks and niggles from the game, obviously, but I think everyone else will be okay. Kyogo, we're obviously going to have to manage through this period. He's not 100%, so it's unlikely he'll play every game between now and the break. We just got to manage him through this period. And from the guys kind of in rehab, try and to come back, there's no one that's going to be available for tomorrow night.
Thanks, Ronnie. Andrew McLean.
Ange, how much were you and the players able to celebrate the win on Sunday, just given how quickly the turnaround is towards the game on Wednesday?
Yeah, as you appreciate, it was pretty limited. I said to the players after the game, I thought it was important that not so much celebrate, but to give them the opportunity to appreciate and reflect on what they've achieved. And we didn't train yesterday, so I'm hoping that after the game and yesterday, the boys just took some time with those closest to them, just to sort of, as I said, just reflect on a fantastic achievement. But they came through the doors today, and we're back on and game tomorrow, and making sure that we're fully focused on what's ahead now.
I know these COVID outbreaks can happen to anyone. Do you feel a bit for St Mirren, given the fact, I think reports this morning saying that they may only have 10 senior outfield players to pick from?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for Jim and for the club, I think Dundee United were in a similar position on the weekend. And as you said, it could happen to any of us. We get tested. We got tested today, and as a manager, first thing on your checklist every day is to make sure we've got nothing ourselves. Because as you said, we've got an injury, a fairly significant injury list. If we lose players, then we're in a similar boat. So, but it's just the way of the world right now, and you obviously, yes, you do feel for oppositions, but at the same time, there's still a game we need to win. And I'm sure whoever St Mirren put out there tomorrow will be a team that tries and stop us, and we just got to get on with it.
Peter Martin. Peter.
Hi, Ange. Do you, like Thomas Tuchel mentioned earlier, that he has concerns for the safety of his Chelsea players? Do you have concerns because of the nature of this highly transmissible virus?
I have concern all the time. I have concern about my family, my friends. I have concern about everybody that that's in my circle, in my world, as everyone else does. I don't think it's any different, put it that way. We all have kids who go to school. We all have partners who go to work every day. It's no different. The level of concern doesn't change. We're not in any sort of different scenario to everyone else who's just trying to get on with their lives in terms of in this difficult situation. So, but at the same time, you trust the guidance that's given to you, and you trust the protocols you put in place to protect everybody that's, as I said, in your circle, whether that's people in your personal life or people in your professional life. And I wouldn't be any different to any other manager of any other business or any other establishment out there who've got people who they work with. I'm sure they're all concerned about it, and you can't understand. They're not with us 24 hours of the day. They have they have their own lives, and the people with that they share households with have their own lives. So that's why as I said, you're always concerned, and that's part of the challenges, I guess, of today's life.
You're on this great run. You've won the cup. There's a certain momentum with your side at the moment. Is there a sense of frustration for you personally, thinking if the worst comes to the worst, suddenly that momentum is halted, derailed, suddenly you're playing catch up? Is that at the forefront of your mind?
Not really, because it's you're right. We've been on a really good run for a long time, but it hasn't been smooth. Sometimes people momentum, they kind of see it as you've caught this this beautiful wave, and you're just sort of coasting down it without having to do much. But that's not been our experience even through this. We've had to earn everything we've had. Hasn't come just because we're on this great run. We've had to do it tough, and in many ways that's not a bad thing, because as you said, we could get halted because of other circumstances, and the way we've sort of addressed things so far and confronted things so far will hold us in good stead if something else, another challenge is put before us. Because as I said, this hasn't been a smooth 2.5 months of winning games of football. It's been every game has had a challenge for us.
Thanks, Pete. Carradine?
Ange, just to return to something that you said earlier, it might prove to be spot on the money, because we are expecting the announcement today to allow football to continue, but with reduced capacity, with far fewer fans. From your mind, your point of view, is that kind of a common sense approach? Is it maybe the best we can hope for given the circumstances just now?
Look, I wouldn't want to, again, sort of try and classify degrees of what's best and what's not best, because again, I don't have all that information. You kind of, if that's a decision, you hope that the people who are making the decision have taken everything into consideration, and again, they'll have a lot more information than I will. As I said, for me, playing behind closed doors is a different beast. I lived that experience, and I know it changes games, it changes behaviours. Having reduced capacity at least minimises that aspect of it. But still, it still means people are going to miss out. And as I said last week, it's a difficult thing to measure when people are so passionate about something as they are about this football club. It's very easy to be dismissive and just say, well, just play behind closed doors. You'd rather that those kind of decisions are made because of really important information, critical information. That means that's the only option. So, as I said, we'll wait for the guidance. The people making those decisions have more information than we'll ever have, and what we need to try and do is just follow that.
Just wonder as well, now you've had a wee bit of time to reflect on your cup success, not a lot of time granted, but it's maybe sinking in just now. You've obviously won plenty in your career, but where does that cup rank given the transformation that the club's had to undergo in such a short space of time, and you coming across obviously different culture, different country, other side of the world?
Look, I've said before, and I always get asked this question, that I can't separate them, because I know they've all had blood, sweat and tears poured into them, every success that I've been lucky to be part of. But it was special because of, as you said, not just, I guess, for me personally, but when I looked around that dressing room, and you just sort of visualise the individual sort of journeys that some of those guys have had, and particularly over the last 5-6 months, for that to culminate in that success on the weekend. It was special for sure, and that's something that will never be taken away from that group of players. And like I said, I feel fortunate to be a part of that, and it's something that, again, when the dust settles and I've decided to not do what I do now, I'll reflect on those days, but more importantly, I'll reflect on the people I shared them with. That's always been what's special to me. But it was definitely a great moment, and one I'll cherish.
Bonnie Esplin?
Hi, Ange.
Hey, mate.
The challenges of trying to prepare a team against a team who you might not know any of their personnel, or not many of their personnel, what are they? Yeah,
there's a lot, because I mean we pride ourselves on making sure we're well prepared for every opponent. We prepare the same way. We scout every opponent, both live and through footage. We've got a team of analysts here who do a lot of work to make sure we have all the information. You're flying by the seat of your pants a little bit when you don't know sort of the lineup of the opposition, particularly when it's such an extreme situation like now. But the flip side of that is that we have some fundamentals that don't change. There's some things in our preparation, in our football, that irrespective of the opponent, we always emphasise, and we kind of fall back on that, because the reality of it is that's what I've always felt. That's the nature of football. You can't prepare for every outcome, every scenario, and we prepare our players to think on their feet on game day. You saw that on the weekend. We didn't go in there with a game plan of falling 1-0 behind. You know, we sort of prepare our players that, you know, whatever happens out there, there's answers within what we do every day here, you know, in our football, and that'll be the preparation for tomorrow. That, you know, there might be some unknowns, some unexpected things that happen, some players, you know, we weren't aware of, and yeah, the responsibility then lies on the players to deal with that, and how they deal with that is within the confines of our structure and the way we do things.
Just going back to your squad again, James Forrest, is he likely to be available?
No, not tomorrow. No, not tomorrow.
Thanks, Ronnie. Richard?
Hi, Ange. Richard from Alternative View. Congratulations on your win on Sunday.
Thank you.
Fantastic experience. I wanted to ask you about the end of the game. I felt it was almost a feeling of catharsis, maybe after living through COVID and getting to a cup final, winning it. How was it for you? Also, Bertiold as well, the fact that we lost such a legend of late. Could I get you just to reflect on the end of the game and what that experience was like for you, Ange?
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's you know, if I think most managers will tell you that the first feeling that comes across you is just relief. That, you know, you all the preparation, all the hard work, all the sort of sacrifices that go into trying to win something bears fruit, not just for yourself personally, but for everyone else that you share it with. You know, and I'm not just talking about people on the field, people within the football department, people who are involved with the football club, our fans, you know, they're all invested. Everyone's invested in this, and so you get a sense of relief that, okay, it's ended well. And then I just really wanted to, after the game on the weekend, just to soak it up. You know, as much as it was fairly euphoric lifting the trophy, and you know. Our skipper was you know, kind enough to give me that opportunity in front of the fans. It was special. Just walking around and looking in the stands, and then sort of glancing over to the playing group and the staff and just seeing their faces. I mean, that's the gold dust for me. That's, you know, I said after the game I try and take sort of pictures in my mind where, you know, they're the things I want to remember. I think in the end the game becomes a blur, but if I can remember those things, then I think, you know, that's pretty priceless. And you know, I as I said, I just took the moments I needed to just take it all in and almost become a sort of spectator to the spectacle myself.
How do Celtic fans compare with supporters in Japan and Australia? Do they share certain characteristics, and how do they differ?
Look, they all love winning. They all hate losing. You know, I'm a genius when we win. I'm not so much that smart when things don't go well. But look, there's a passion here that, and passion's not the right word, because, you know, supporters all over the world are passionate. But I've said a few times that the significance of this football club for me is that this is stuff that's ingrained generationally, and that's, you know, parents, grandparents to parents to great-grandparents to kids to grandkids to great-grandkids. It's something more than just being passionate for your football club. You know, it is a way of life, and I sense that not just in the games, but when I talk to people, you know, that when I come across people, that for them this is more significant than just following a football club. And that's where the difference lies, because, say, particularly in Japan and Australia, if you want a comparison, the game itself is still very young in those countries. You know, there isn't the history and like I said, that passing on through generations of the love and passion of something. So that's where it's different here, and it oozes out of every aspect of the club. Because even when, you know, with people I work with here, some of them have been here 20, 30 years, you know. Some of them have had parents who have worked through here, you know, and that's not lost on me. That gives me that extra sort of burden of responsibility to make sure that I uphold all those values that these people I know stand for.
Thanks, Richard. I think we've got one more seltzer here. Last one, I think.
Yeah. Ange, first of all, huge congratulations again
Thanks.
for Sunday. Buzzing for you and the team, so hopefully the first of many. But Ryan McGowan spoke recently about playing under you for Australia, and you would put a lot of emphasis on attacking straight from any kickoff to catch the opposition cold. It must have made that even more sweet after hearing that and scoring so quickly after conceding on Sunday.
Yeah, I heard Ryan put out a cheeky text or tweet or whatever it is as well. So he's a good man. Yeah, look, I've said a few times. Sometimes, you know, these things don't happen by accident. You know, they're part of who we are. Every little aspect of it, and you know, it's not about giving away secrets or, you know, anyone who watches us play and really has a good look at us and studies us will know that those things are really important. Both goals came on the weekend from stuff we work on. You know, both of them came from sort of the overriding philosophy we have as a football team, is that not a moment's wasted. You know, every second of every game is an opportunity. That you don't react to what the scoreboard says, you react to what's in front of you. And I thought the players handled that really well. You know, they know what we need to do when we kick off. You know, they know what to do when it's a free kick. They know what to do when there's a restart, whether it's a throw-in, a goal kick. They understand that and they embrace that. It's not easy because you've got to be switched on all the time. But, you know, as I've said before, we want to be a team that's relentless, you know. Our goalkeeper's not going to waste time in the first 5 minutes of a game. Doesn't matter if we're playing against the best in the world. We're going to use every minute of it. And, you know, people might just think that these things just happen sort of coincidentally, but, you know, it's part of who we are, the part of the team we want to be, and that's our challenge, to keep, you know, progressing those parts of our game, and they're the things I've had in me. You know, like I said, from the moment I started managing, I've often said, you know, I'm critical as anyone if my team is not playing the football that would get me excited if I was a fan. And I don't think any fan wants to see, you know, goalkeepers taking 2 minutes to take a goal kick. I'm not sure that's part of what we're supposed to be doing. Not that that's not legitimate, and that's fine. It's just not who we are.
Yeah, and again, we've heard it today. You speak about passion and the fans and the players that you've brought in. For you, to sum up, how important has it been for you personally to see the players and the staff round about you get rewarded on Sunday for winning?
That's, like I said, that's it for me. That's the main bit. You know, it's not that I don't, you know, you don't take personal pride, and yeah, you know what, I pat myself on the back and well done, Ange, and on we go. But you do it for those reasons, because you're sharing it with people. It's why I love football. It's why I struggled with any individual sports. Not that I was any good at them, but I'm going, well, who are you going to share them with if you win something? You know, for me, it's the beauty of football. Football introduced me. I've got 5 close mates. I met them all playing football as a 9-year-old, and they're still my mates today. So that's what I love about the game. So the people I share it with now, the players and the staff, that's, like I said, that's where the gold is for me, to watch them enjoy that moment and know that I've been a part of it as well, and that in 20 years' time, you know, if they find me sitting on a rocking chair somewhere, we can reminisce about it. That's the beauty of it, and it's no different to what it does for supporters. I know, because, you know, that's the bit they love. You know, that after the game they'll share a beer with their mates and they'll never forget those moments.